Hi everybody. How y'all doing? It's been a couple pair of Sundays since I seen y'all. So how's everybody? It's 39 degrees here. I have to do the weather check every single time I go live because that's what we do around here. We small talk. I'm a Gemini. That's my superpower. So hopefully everybody's good. Everybody's great. Wait 1 second. 1 second. Never mind. Well, let's see if we can. I should have figured it out beforehand. This is my fault this time. I wanted guest to put their name instead of guest right there, but I didn't see that until just now. There it goes. Okay. All right, I changed it for you. Now you're not guest. It's Gigi. Okay. So we are here today with Gigi from Black Quartz Tarot and Jasmine, the host of the podcast that I have been on. Thank you very much. Host Are You Spiritual is the name of the podcast. Gigi, we're going to jump right into, I want you to talk about your YouTube channel, what you do. You don't have to talk about where you are and all that kind of stuff, but what you do and what's going on the Black Quartz Tarot.
Okay, hi friends. Well, my name is Gigi, and I just want you to know, Johnny, it's snowing here, by the way. But I started my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Black Quartz Tarot with Gigi. I'm relatively new. I'm on YouTube. I do personal readings. I do political readings, and I recently got into doing monthly readings for astrological signs. So that's what I do. I'm relatively new though, but I've been reading tarot, I guess maybe for about a year now, a little bit over a year. And my channel's about 6 months old.
Well, good for you. Jasmine, Are You Spiritual? We talk about your podcast and introduce yourself pretty please and thank you.
Sure. First of all, Gigi, I love your Christmas tree. It is making me so happy right now to see it, and I am so jealous that I don't have one. It's so cheerful. I love it. Yes, my name is Jasmine Milani, and I am the host of Are You Spiritual? It's a podcast that Johnny has been on. And it is really where I like to explore the spiritual world and try to provide a space where whether you're very accomplished and you're kind of farther down the road or you're just beginning on your spiritual journey, you can find kind of a welcoming space to learn more and ask questions. And yeah, that's me. That's what I do. And I can't complain. It's like 72 degrees and sunny here. It's gorgeous. Don't hate LA.
Just rub it in, why don't you?
You can keep it because I don't want a 70 nothing in my life. So unless you're giving me $70, I don't want it.
Sometimes you want to bundle up and it's like, oh, it's gorgeous.
Yes, it's nice, and it's nice when you get to wear your fat people clothes and this. And so we all intersect in the world of tarot. We have groups outside of YouTube that we all meet and read with each other as well, Gigi, Jasmine, and I, as well as others. And just for some practice again, when it comes to tarot, I know it is the most basic of advice, but it really is a thing that you just have to practice. You do it over and over and over. I have gotten readings from both of them before. And so that's why they're here, first of all. But it's like, yeah, I'm not yanking anybody in I can't trust with something. So it's one of them things to where you have to just practice and keep at it and keep at it and keep at it, and you will get better at it. You will, I won't say fail, that's the wrong word. You will get some things wrong a lot. And that's good because that teaches you how to read it differently, read it better, whatever the case may be. So practice does make better. I don't know if it makes perfect, but it does make better for sure. But today I had a few friends. I'm reading the chat now. See, this is Gemini brain in that crosswire. Did you see it happen in real live time just now? Train tarot, you jacked me up just now. I seen the word friends and said, I have a few friends. I don't have any friends. Nobody likes me. But I have a few friends. That's what I meant to say. So we'll start with you, Jasmine. How did you get started in tarot card reading?
That is such an interesting question because on and off for the years I've had tarot cards and I have like given them away, like intentionally said, I don't want this anymore and just given them away. And then I started getting a little bit more into using the cards daily. And before I started watching anyone on YouTube, I had found like Biddy Tarot, and I found her book to be really complete. And so I started like a tarot journal and just started kind of really investing a little bit more. And I think it was actually, funnily enough, this tarot deck that became the most accessible for me and was kind of the one that I used the most to get started because it was so friendly, you know? And then I found the tarot readers on YouTube. And then I found you and really started actually putting my energy into learning what the cards mean because the cards are, all of the imagery really triggers your unconscious in some way. And so you kind of have to, I'm so sorry, I locked my dog in the bathroom. I'm sorry. Come on. I don't know why she went in there. And so I think then once I started getting a little bit more of a handle on what everything was, I felt that I could really study and learn more. And I've taken now 3 classes with you. I still feel like I have a lot to learn, but I am able to kind of place things. I feel like I'm a beginner in the land of tarot still, but I have some knowledge.
I mean, we all are, because as my number one rule, if anybody's been in my class, and hi, Janice, anyone's been in my class will tell you, remain teachable is my number one rule. There is no, I learned everything. I will never call myself tarot's master or master of tarot or anything like that, because I learned something 6 months ago that I didn't see before. And I've been reading tarot for almost, 17, 18 years, since 2005. And so I learned something 3 months ago that I didn't see before. So remain teachable is what I always say. So Gigi, how did you get started in tarot card reading? Gigi, could you hear me? Is she muted? It's on you.
I didn't.
Go ahead. How did you get started? No, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Didn't I tell you? I told you Mercury retrograde was on me before we even got started. No, you're not muted. I can hear you now.
2 minutes ago.
I told you. This is,
okay. Okay. So
for this. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess I started my spiritual journey in the church, basically. But I think I've always been a psychic, even in my early childhood. I would consider myself an empath and maybe a clairaudient because I hear things, and I've always heard them. Now, in the church, they would call it something else. They'd call it maybe a word from God, but basically it's the same thing. I guess around 2019, 2020, I was very distraught, and you can kind of think back on that time frame on what was going on. And I was listening to YouTube one time, and I heard this lady, and she was talking about the spirit had told her to start a YouTube channel because she would help calm people down. And, I was listening, and I started listening to her. And it was Linda G, the Comanche psychic, by the way. And so I started watching her, and she really did help me calm down. Okay, so from watching her, I stumbled upon this young man reading tarot cards. And he made it so clear, you know, and so easy to understand. And he had all these beautiful cards, and every time he would come on, he'd have a different set. And each one was more beautiful than the others. And his name was Tarot's Apprentice. It was you, Johnny. So it was Linda G and Johnny were the first two readers that I ever paid attention to. And, you know, it kind of intrigued me. His cards intrigued me. And I got interested in the tarot. But like I said, I've always basically been psychic. My grandmother was psychic too. She used to dream. And she would dream about you, you know, good things or bad things. And if she dreamed something bad, you better pay attention. Yeah, so that's how I got started on the tarot cards. I do want to say too that,
go ahead.
Okay, later on down the road, maybe about 3 years later, I ended up taking a beginning tarot class with Tarot's Apprentice. I took 2 beginning classes and then 1 advanced. So that's how I got started, basically.
And I put Gigi's email and Jasmine's contact information as well in the podcast in the description, and it's pinned to the comment section as well. I got started. I always wanted tarot cards. I didn't know what they were, but I knew I wanted them. And then I see them on TV with "Call Me Now, Miss Cleo," and then I'm like, yes, that's the thing. That's the thing that I want. And then later on down the line, I got my own, and here I am now. And speaking of which, though, Gigi, I'll come back to you. Can you see yourself right now, present day? Can you see yourself without tarot?
I put it this way. I can't see myself not following my spiritual path. And tarot is my tool, and it's what I resonate with. But do I see myself always using tarot cards? Because I am interested in other things too besides tarot. But like I said, I always use that as my tool. But I'm interested in reading the Lenormand cards too. And so that's my next goal. And my goal too is to master as much as I can with the tarot.
Mm-hmm. So you're open to it, open to whatever comes along. That's a good thing. Jasmine, can you see yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Gigi said it so well. You know, I am open to other things. It's funny because I think I just like them. You know, I don't have quite the big collection that you guys do, but I really enjoy collecting them. I enjoy using them. I enjoy looking at them. But in the end, you know, I've gotten to a place with myself where I kind of trust my own intuition. So what I enjoy about using the cards is really focusing on reading the cards and not just using what I hear or see or think, and letting the cards kind of guide the conversation. So yeah, I agree with Gigi. There's a lot of other things I'm interested in. I don't really see myself giving them up, but you know, we get captured by our curiosities, right? And there are these new things. So now people are using divining rods, and those look really cool. Or the dice for tarot look amazing. I mean, there's just so many different tools you can use.
I know. I will have them forever and ever and ever. But I will also say, and this is a lot of the stuff that I guess you don't see on YouTube, because when I do my videos, I kind of default to this, and because that's kind of the purpose of the whole thing. But I created my own divination systems. I use those. It's mostly off camera. I just created one last week. I've got it all printed out, but it's in the mail and being sent here. So I'm going to try it when it gets here. And so I can't see myself without it, but I can see myself pushing more stuff with it. And so you just have a whole pack of instead of just the one. Jasmine.
Something. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go right ahead.
When you're creating these decks and these different divination tools, like where is that coming from within you? Like, how do you go into a trance space? Is it something that you dream, or how does it occur to you?
It just, as you said, I follow the curiosity. It's like I envision, like I made an oracle deck that was all song lyrics, because songs speak a whole lot into people's lives. That's a whole different kind of energy. And so I made a whole deck of just that, because I hear one thing and I think, oh, that would make an interesting idea for, and then I just follow the curiosity down the trail, and there it is, to see if it works.
That's creative.
Jasmine, I want to come back to you. Do you ever feel pushback from your spiritual path from anyone around you?
I mean, not anymore. Not, I mean, but it is something that I do talk about on the early episodes of the podcast. And one of the reasons that I started the podcast is because a lot of times when you're stepping into the very first steps of your spiritual journey, it feels like you're going to lose everything and everyone. And that's not really what happens. You will gain clarity, and a lot of your relationships that maybe really aren't authentic to who you are becoming, they might fall away, those relationships. So I think, what was the question again?
Did you ever feel the pushback from anybody?
So yeah, I mean, in the beginning, yes. I mean, I started out like my whole spiritual journey with Reiki. I mean, that was the first thing where I really started, what I call coming out to people in my life, and just sort of saying, yeah, I do this, and just seeing how they would respond. And some people were surprised. The people that there are surprising people that will become out of the woodwork to support you. And some of the people that you thought would be like, no problem, will be like, have this strange diminutizing effect, like, how's your little thing that you're doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really receive that much pushback anymore, but I stand a lot truer in it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to believe what I believe. I'm not here to convince or evangelize. I'm here if you've already looking, so I don't as much anymore, but in the beginning, for sure.
I like that, what you said about who I am becoming, and those people who are true to you will stay with you, and those who are not will flake away. Because I do a year in, what do you call that? Like year at a glance type of thing. And I do a reading for each month, and I take a picture of it, and it has rang true for this year. And so next year is a whole bunch of changes, because I think Pluto is in my house of friendships. And so everything is starting to restructure and change. And it's like, well, this will be interesting to see how that happens all the way up until, I think it's May. But I totally get what you're saying there. Gigi, who grew up in the church, did you get a lot of pushback for your spiritual path?
Not yet, Johnny, but it's still pretty early, so we'll see. Now, I have gotten a few trolls on my channel. When I do political reads, I've gotten a couple of trolls. So what I do, I just delete and block. But it's still early with the pushback, so I'll let you know.
I got none, I think. My sister's Christian, but she's not judgmental Christian. And so it's kind of like, if that works for you, that works for you type of thing. She's still very devout to her Christianity, which you go right ahead. I understand. I was once that too. So I get where the headspace is. And I also get that she has no judgment towards what I do, or she does, but she keeps it to herself. So, but the book that I learned how to read cards from is called Learn Tarot Easy, I believe, by Josephine Ellershaw. And right in the beginning of the book, she says, do not defend it, because you'll keep doing it for the rest of your life. And so if somebody doesn't like it, they don't have to. That doesn't mean you can't do it, because it's not hurting them, it's helping you. And so you don't have to go around and defend it to people. It's not one of them things you need to take up. Choose your fights, pick your battles, as they say. Well, when it comes to reading, Gigi, is there something you will not read on?
Oh, yes. Yeah, because basically I'm an empath. And so I can feel the energies around people and things. So I won't read on violent crimes, like murders, kidnapping, um, that type of thing. I have done it, and it didn't work well for me. So I had to protect my own energy. So no, I won't do that. I I prefer reading on uplifting things. Although people are going to have problems, in life, but I really prefer reading on finances and relationships, and I will do general health readings, but just general, the energies around people's health, and I also like giving messages, what I receive from spirit, but the violent crimes and things, that's not me.
Me either. Jasmine, is there anything that you don't want to
That's
read on?
scary.
You don't want
It is intense. I don't do as many readings for others as you guys do. I haven't been called to do anything in that realm. In some of my other spiritual work, we've worked on just to practice, so not with any kind of law enforcement or the families or anything. We have done some kind of work with missing people and stuff, and I'm open to that, but I just haven't been called to do any of it. And I'm not sure how I would respond in the moment, because I think it really depends on we never really know where we're going to see or where we're going to land in the story. So I think I'm not sure how I would respond to that in the moment. Probably depend on the person.
Yeah, I think so too. That the situation involving it, because it could have a lighthearted, and like for instance, there was a missing persons thing, but it was a child, and the child had the sweetest, most comforting energy for whoever was trying to read, and therefore it wasn't a heavy thing. And then there was one time when I tried to do it, and no, thank you. It takes you to a place, and then it dumps you in there, and it's like you have to sift through horrible details, and it's like, I'm not. This is what's the purpose? No, thank you. I don't really want to go into that. So the missing people thing, I can't do.
And also because you're moving into a place of spirit where we're connecting with our cards and we're connecting with spirit, and not all spirits want to talk too. And that's something that we don't really talk about in the spiritual world. It's like they're all going to be waiting there. And I've encountered people that are like, I don't want to tell you, or I don't want to tell you now, period. Yeah. So it really depends on the circumstance.
100%. Jasmine, I want to come back to you. What intrigues you the most about spiritualism and the whole spirituality world?
That's a really big question. I think, without getting too intense and without wanting to offend anyone, I don't believe in organized religion. It's something that really doesn't resonate with me. It feels very outside of myself. And one of the things that I have found the most beautiful is my own connection with divinity and my own connection with spirit. And I think that is the difference between spirituality and religion. So when you ask me what intrigues me the most, it's the fact that just like each one of us is different, our connection with our divine, whatever you want to call it, source, creator, spirit, flame, whatever you want to call it, is unique to us. And to understand that we have this personal connection, each one of us, and we don't need a special house. We don't need a translator. We don't necessarily need books, and we don't need to be told how to do it. I feel like we are in a really beautiful time for light workers now to help people. Statistically, one of the things I like to get into in the podcast when I can is statistics. And statistically, no matter what it looks like to the outside world, people are leaving organized religion. And it's almost the exact same percentage that are starting to respond to what we call alternative spiritualism, whatever. So we need more people like us that are just normal living our lives, saying, you can have this connection. So that's what intrigues me the most, is where it goes for different people, how it never ends for me. There's always something new, like dragons, or felines or crystal grids or your spirit guide, or it's fascinating. So that's why it goes back to curiosity for me.
Yeah. Gigi, what intrigues you the most about the spiritual world and all this?
Well, okay, I think one thing that intrigues me is the historical aspect of the spiritual world, and maybe even the comparison with or to organized religion and spiritualism. You can go back to the beginning of man, and they always worship God, or they always did some type of spiritual practices. And I think another thing that intrigues me is the difference between the two. Like religion is like rules and guides for the collective, and your spiritualism is your own personal road. Your own personal journey to find God or spirit. And I think another thing that intrigues me too is um, the diversity in spiritualism. It's so many types of forks or roads that you can take in spiritualism. It's people that meditate, it's people that or astrologer, yoga. It's never ending. So I think that intrigues me and interests me a lot too.
Yes, for me, I think it is the fact that there's something there. I can't see it. I can feel it and experience it, but I can't see it. And the fact that there's that intrigues me because I want to know where it is. I want to like pull back the curtain and just peek. I don't want to go sit in the crystal sea and all that. I just want to pull back the curtain and say, oh, okay, that's what's going on over there. This whole veil thing, there's something there because you can hear them. You can experience them in different ways. And our senses are not the best guide taking or info taking things in the world sometimes because you can fool the sense of smell and the eye and all these type of things. But there's something there and our senses can experience it. We can get the smells or we can get the hears and the tingles and all this type of stuff. There's something there. We can talk to dead people. But that then tells me, well, I guess their body is not moving, but they're not dead. Their energy still lives somewhere. And so that's what intrigues me the most is the fact that it's real, even if you don't believe it. It believes you.
Mm-hmm. And to Gigi's point, it's something that goes along with our evolution. Mm-hmm. It goes back to, like Gigi said, it goes back to the beginning of time. However, we wanted to connect with the divine or the creator or whatever you want to call it. There's always been a longing, and I think that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else is there? That connection to God or connection to source or universe, whatever you call it, that connection to the thing or the things. So it's a very interesting thing, I think. Me too. Mm-hmm. I want to go. This is the Tarot's Apprentice, so I want to go into some tarot talk if we can. This heifer here, let me tell y'all. First of all, I don't know. I still don't understand. I do a read or two every now and then. Again, we have like collective groups and stuff we're in, and she comes up and everybody's reading, and I don't know what it is, who it is. Anyway, moving on from that. Gigi, do you have a go-to tarot deck?
Well, my go-tos change from time to time. I don't know but right now, I'm using just a traditional Rider-Waite because I don't know. It just seems like the atmosphere that I'm in right now, I just want straight answers. And I could just read those with no input of my own. They just come up true. Now I use the pretty ones, of course. I use the cloth, the ones that bling, but they're traditional Rider-Waite cards. That's what I'm using right now. And then when I'm reading on certain people, different people, I might use a deck for them. Or if it's more than one question, I use more than one deck. But I'm using, just a Rider-Waite right now. I don't need anything really complicated at this point.
Not with
Too
your
much.
job, especially. Jasmine, you have a go-to?
Well, it's funny because I think what Gigi's saying is so true. It's like when you use the Rider Waite, you don't have to translate.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go like, wait, what does that card look like? But I kind of think I don't remember that phrase, but it's like your favorite wife is the most recent one or your favorite whatever. So it's like my card deck, the most recent one I got is my most favorite. But I think the Lightseers Tarot is probably the one I take with me the most. It's very gentle. I feel like they're like Burning Man cards, and it's got some diversity in there, which I like. But the card I'm using today, because I just got them, is the Pulp Tarot. And I know these have been around for a while, but I didn't look through them at all. And so it's kind of fun to just like discover them as I'm pulling them. They are really cool. And the major arcana all looks like old time movie posters. So, but yeah, that's just because I just got these this week and they're fun to play with. You ask me next week.
For personal readings, which I will do at some point in the future once I get a whole lot of stuff on this. Nothing bad for those who are concerned, but I have to figure out a whole bunch of stuff on this side first. But this is it because I don't have to think. And it's interesting too how, you know, the divine works, that this thing permeates the market so much to where anybody who reads tarot has it. Or they don't have it, but they have something based upon this. If, you know, most people, they had a Thoth or that other one, the Marseille or something like that, but you probably have a Rider Waite affiliated deck somewhere if you have tarot cards, and you just don't have to. Well, I don't have to think. I can. They just jump out off the card, and boom, there's your answer type thing. Only time they become complicated is when our self gets in the way, and then. But that's the one for personal readings. I don't have a go-to for nothing else though, because there's 340 of them. So yeah, put your hand in the box and see what comes out.
I will say I tried to start reading with other cards, and I think if anybody's starting out, you should just get the Rider Waite Smith to start with. Because it really and I'm always amazed when we're in class with you or when we're reading with you, and you'll be like, and mind you, and you'll pull out some arcane thing on one of these cards and have this long description. And it's like, I had no idea that was why that was there. And it informs you as you go on to read. Or like Gigi, I always think about you with the star card, because you said all of the other stars on the star card are blessings. And so, like, you know, when you start to see these symbols on the cards and have them translated, those things stick with you. So I didn't start that way, and I suggest other people do.
I didn't start with the Rider Waite either. I knew nothing about it, actually, believe it or not, until way later, I think when I started YouTube, actually. And that was just 8 years ago. That's when I finally figured this. I didn't know anything about the deck I was learning from being based off of this. I knew nothing about it, none of that stuff. Because I also did not buy tarot decks until I started YouTube. I only had one, believe it or not.
Really? Which one was it?
It's called the Gilded Tarot by Cyril. Yeah. Gilded Tarot by Cyril Marchetti. And it came with that book by Josephine Ellershaw, and that's why I had it in the first place, because the deck came with the book. And pro tip, if you buy the Gilded Tarot by Cyril Marchetti, do not buy the deck by itself, because the deck by itself is like $20, $22, something like that. If you buy the book set, it's like $13 for whatever reason. So go get the book set, that way you'll have the book too. You can throw the book away, but don't buy the deck by itself. But that's how I learned, and I didn't learn the Rider Waite even existed until like 2016 or 18 or whatever it was. Whenever Trump got elected, that's when I figured this.
You're all blocking that out.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of which, I want Gigi, what is your thoughts on good cards and bad cards as far as the tarot goes?
Okay, well, you mean what the cards I like to see?
No, just as far because there's not a consensus, but
Mhm.
I always say there's no such thing as bad cards. There's information. Like that's a
Right.
card of victory, that's a card of poverty. But what are your thoughts on cards being good or bad as far as like their message goes?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I know that there are several cards that I like to see when I'm reading.
Mhm.
Okay, and one of those is the Ace of Cups. I always love to see that card when I'm reading, because to me the Ace of Cups is like the universe just almost co-signing on your goals and your aspirations. It's like the universe is handing you a gift. So I love to see that card in a reading. The one I hate to see in a reading is the Ten of Swords, because that Ten of Swords feels like you may not get over that. Because if you think about it, and a stab in the back, to me indicates it's somebody that you knew, or maybe even somebody you trusted. So if you think about it, one sword in the back is bad enough. But if you're laying on your stomach and you have 10 swords in your back, you're not really going to come out of that too easily. So those are the worst card I think in the deck, as far as I'm concerned. And then the Ace of Cups is the one I love to see. That along with the Star card are my favorite cards to get when I'm reading. I also don't like the Three of Swords either, because that means you're going to be heartbroken about something. So those are my ones that I like to see, and the ones that I really don't want to see when I'm reading for myself or other people.
You like the nice cards and you hate the bad cards. Is what you're saying.
Pollyanna, la 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 la.
I get it. So, Jasmine, what are your thoughts about good or bad cards?
Well, it's funny because when Gigi was talking, I forget which reader said it, but about the 10 of swords, they said, well, you can't get more dead. Like you're as dead as you're
That isn't gonna get.
So I always think like
You would say that.
it's the worst it's gonna be. At least you've hit the rock bottom. It kind of depends. When I'm reading for myself and I get like it really does depend on the combinations, right? Because you could get certain combinations with like the Tower card, and it could be like, oh, I'm gonna, have a new situation. I'm gonna have so I don't know. I don't love to get the Three of Swords either, because it does feel like it's a piercing in the heart in some way, and it feels like it's your mind, body, and soul. That's what I think of the three of them. So that is one that I'm like, it's hard to spin that one when you get it.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess that might be it. I think it kind of depends on, and also just because I don't read them well, whenever I get a page or a night, I'm always like, oh, where's the book? Even though I can put it all together, I don't, they're not intuitive for me. So those are the ones that I'm always like.
Yeah, you can read for 50 years and court cards will still trip you up because they're a nuisance, because they're human beings and you don't belong in a deck full of symbols. And so for me, it's I don't believe cards are negative. That looks negative, but it's info, and that's what you come to the reader for. And so if you wanted encouragement, get you an oracle deck. If you wanted information, especially if it's specific, then you go to certain divination systems, because that's what it's meant for. It's meant to predict the future. And so they're not negative. And then, mind you, all of them can be spun, but it's kind of difficult sometimes. But there's no negative cards necessarily. It's info. There's some you don't want to see naturally, but
Yeah.
deep down, we probably knew it was coming anyway. And so, as I've always said in every class too, This is not psychic. You are. This is the psychic tool. This is pen and ink and paper. You can tear it in half, nothing happens. Tear you in half, something happens. Jasmine, if you mentioned this earlier, but if you could change the way you learned tarot, would you change it? Looking back, hindsight.
I enjoy the process for me, and it's only gotten better since I started taking classes and getting in groups where we really just enjoy reading together. And I found like this whole kind of community of people that I relate to and that I enjoy talking with. And so there's that part of tarot that I totally didn't expect. And it's been really wonderful, especially if you're doing this for years by yourself in your room for yourself, or for your friends, to find out that like, oh, I'm not alone. And there's a lot of people that I can relate to. And we have fun reading together. It's really fun to read together. And that's something that I think has been such a unseen bonus. That being said, I have interviewed some people who have said, oh yeah, the tarot just took off for me. I just saw it like a movie and it came to me right away. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous of them, because to me, seriously, I will put the cards down and spend a good long time looking at them and remembering and putting into context. And, recently we took your Grand Tableau class, and that is really like a labyrinth, like of just getting into like more ideas and more thoughts. So mixed bag, but knowing what I know now, I'm very happy with my journey. But if anybody can ever wave a magic wand and give me a power, I'll take it.
Gigi, would you change anything about the way you learned tarot?
No, because when I took my first tarot class, we learned the meanings of each one of those 78 cards. So that, to me, that's like the foundation. And then after you know that, you can go on and put your intuition with it. But I think that foundation is important. It's just like when you're teaching math. I'm old school, so I still believe the kids should memorize their addition facts and their multiplication facts and their division facts, just so they'll have the foundation to build on. And so I think learning the meanings when I took that class was like a first step. And then you can build on it. But without that, I don't think I would be the reader that I am now, because, you're just kind of winging it if you don't really know what the cards mean. And then also, I think in that class that I took, you talked about the positions of the cards. We learned the spreads of the cards. All that is important. Although you know how I am, I'm a little bit unorthodox sometimes, so I might not use that spread, but I know it. I can use it. So I think learning the foundation is important, and then you can branch out on your own if you want to and do something different. But you need that foundation, in my opinion.
And so you, as an educator, you understand that you have a framework, and if you can change some things, but if you stick within that framework, you're not going to go wrong. And so your foundation of learning, because I preach the meanings of the cards. Learn what it means first, and then start looking at the pictures. People who read by the picture, it drives me nuts. But I understand when people read by the picture. I've had people read for me by the picture, and it was spot on. So it's not that it can't happen. It's just my framework says you can't do that, but you can. So do not take what I'm saying as law that you can't do it. But it's like, learn, because I don't want you to be somewhere and say, oh, disaster's coming and you're holding this card in your hand. I need you to at least know what it means and then go from there, type thing. But I don't think I would learn any different. I always wanted to take a class, though, with the teacher in it, in a classroom setting, not a one-on-one type of thing. And I tried a couple times. I took Lori's class, which was great. I learned something there. But after that, I tried a couple other things, and it went downhill. And what I found was, and I hate to say it this way, because humble thyself in private or God will do it in public type thing. But I found that the people who were talking to me knew less about the cards than I did. And I felt like that's when I was doing the meetup things I told you all about. All that. It's like I felt like I was the teacher in somebody else's class. And then I didn't like that feeling because then I felt like I was being boastful at that point because this ain't about you. But what you said is wrong. So I feel like I have to correct it, but I'm not because this ain't about that whole thing. My journey has, though, taught me a lot. And so I wouldn't change it because then I'd have less stories to tell.
That's true.
100 bad days makes 100 good stories, they say in the song. So there's that. Okay, Gigi, what are you drawn to currently, spiritually speaking, right now? You said you wanted Lenormand, so we'll go past that one. But what else are you drawn to spiritually?
Okay, well, spiritually, I think I'm drawn to maybe learning more about the tarot when it comes to things like numbers on the card, details in the card, like say for instance, one time when you were teaching us and you were talking about yads, and I hadn't even noticed those little things in the cards. You know, it's so many little details that you don't know about until you know about them. Okay, I'm also interested in astrology. Not that I want to be an astrologist, because I don't, but I want to have some knowledge about it. So I ordered a couple of books, and they're going to be my first January reads. You know, I do want to know more knowledge about astrology, but I don't want to be an astrologist. I'm also interested in gemstones. Because, you know, I'm a jewelry fan, and I know that stones, gemstones, crystals, all that has energy. They have energy. So I'd like to study more about the energies in gemstones too. So that's kind of what I'm drawn to, you know, right now.
And that's a yod, that little thing there,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
for those who are wondering.
Uh-huh.
Jasmine,
What
else are you drawn to currently, spiritually speaking?
Well, I am planning out. I'm going to toot my own horn because if I don't, who will? So I'm
exactly.
the next season of Are You Spiritual, which is going to be my third season. So we've done 30 episodes now, which is amazing. And yeah, I have an episode recorded about star seeds, which is really fascinating. If you've never heard about star seeds, I'm getting into like crystalline grid, that kind of stuff. There's a lady that I'm really trying to work up the nerve to talk to about dragon energy, because that's coming up enough. And whatever comes up, you know. I also do a series where we talk about kind of how spirituality can go wrong. And I do that with a friend of mine. And so we're working on a new episode, which is kind of like my spiritual 48 hours. I think I really love those episodes. So I'm up for everything. Yeah, I think they're fun. And I think it's important to just show everything, you know, even in the spiritual world. It's not all perfect. Not everybody is ethical. But yeah, I mean, I've got more tarot cards. I'm always trying to get Johnny to teach a new class, maybe on the court cards or just on the, you know, that'd be fun. We could do that. Because I just really enjoy doing this together. And I do think, and we've talked about this, Johnny, that tarot really was created to do together in a lot of ways. It's something that was interactive. So yeah, I'm here to see how that evolves. So I'm interested in all of it. Bring it on, aliens. I'm ready.
I am currently intrigued about chakras. And so I am going to read some things on that and maybe try to convert them to memory is what I'm trying to do. And so, like I did the chakra dice system that I created long time ago. And I want to improve upon it or expand it in a way. And so that's what I'm currently doing. One more question. Gigi, has tarot changed your life? Has it improved it? Has it subtracted from it? Has it added to it? Has it made it worse? Has it made it better? Has it changed it dramatically, or just even a little bit at all?
Okay. I feel like it's added to it because I'm using it as a tool now to, kind of verify some of the things that, I was feeling all along. It's making me more confident in what I hear, what I feel. I can always pull out my cards and um, see if it'll go along with what I was thinking from the beginning. So to me, it's strengthening my psychic ability. So I feel like it has improved my life a whole lot. I love collecting the tarot cards. I love reading. I love just working with my friends, sharing ideas about the cards. So I'm really kind of in love with my cards right about now. So I think it couldn't do anything but improve my life, right now. Mm-hmm.
I will say it's very shallow, very superficial sometimes. I'm gonna say it anyway. I watch your videos, right? Because Gigi posts videos on YouTube again, for those who do not know, Black Quartz Tarot and Are You Spiritual? I put the links to the podcast. This podcast is everywhere. So just Google the name Are You Spiritual? But I posted 2 links in the description box so that you can go and find. And also on my community page, the one that we did together is somewhere on there. I sometimes watch your videos, Gigi, just to see your jewelry. I do. I'm a magpie. I like the sparkly and the shiny, and then people who hold up their cards, sometimes I'm not even looking at your cards, I'm looking at you.
Oh, that's funny.
But anyhow, Jasmine, has tarot added to your life, subtracted, made it better, changed it?
Well, I mean, I 100% agree with Gigi, and I wouldn't be here. So obviously it's enhanced my life, and I really enjoy the community that we have. And I do really enjoy the cards. I don't think I'm going to quit reading them. I don't know if I'm ever really going to be big on reading them for other people, but I do so enjoy using them and learning them. And I think like just having like a new pursuit that you can really dig into and take classes with different people. And there's even, I think, tarot cards at the Met or the Smithsonian that you can really have fun using this as a hobby. So yeah, it's totally improved my life. And I think it's great. I think it's just so fun. And it really is. I mean, if you have any kind of aesthetics, like, wow, is this a whole new world for you? Because there's every kind of tarot card artist. It's fun and fascinating.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't changed my life a little bit. A whole lot of it, actually. Yes, it has completely, actually. And that's not an exaggeration to say. It's completely changed. And so, yes, I learned that I knew them before I had them, type of thing. And then I learned, so yes, it has completely changed my whole entire life. And so, thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Jasmine. I love you all.
We planned this a long time ago, and then a couple things happened around November that we will not speak of. And I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like going live talking to nobody right now. So, but I have relaxed, related, and released, and so here we are. We'll be back again at some point, I'm sure, talk about something somewhere. I actually am going to go record 1 or 2 YouTube videos that I had. And so, again, Black Quartz Tarot here on YouTube. Also, you can Google Mail, Lord Jesus. Mercury, will you leave me alone for 9 seconds so I can do my outro, please? if you, I was going to say it again. If you Google mail Gigi, I don't know what the word is. Email, Jesus Christian. If you email Gigi at Black Quartz 25,
Like, we have to be good at this stuff because we can't do anything else.
I need a beer and a cigarette right now, Lord Jesus. No.
Smoking, Johnny. Oh.
The Gemini can't talk. Lord have mercy. If you send a email to Gigi at blackquartz25@gmail.com, then you can book your own personal reading. She does have a YouTube channel as well. And as I said, the description box holds the links for Are You Spiritual? And it's fantastic conversations. And so make sure you go and check those out. Go leave Gigi a like. It doesn't cost you anything. Don't leave no nasty comments because I will find you. Okay. So, we will see y'all next time. Thank y'all for
Thank you,
hanging out.
Johnny.
Okay, love you all.
Love you.
Bye.
All our friends in the chat.